Hi, everyone. I'm back with a really killer album review for you today. Before we get started, though, make sure you click that subscribe button so you get notified when we press album reviews, interviews, or any new content to the channel. Let's get started. Today, I am talking to you about Crystal Viper's frontwoman, Marta Gabriel, with her solo project that she's doing called Metal Queens. It is a 11 track, I say, with pause. You have to buy the CD or the vinyl to get that 11th track. Otherwise, you will only get 10 if you're streaming. It is an album full of covers of influential heavy metal artists throughout the years, and they are all heavy metal female vocalists. And I love this because for me, I was 18 in the 80s, and man, was it hard to find somebody to look at as an icon for me outside of just the dudes doing it. And my first experience was Warlock and Doro Pesh and her vocals, and I was hooked. It was really cool to be able to relate just to that fact of these women being in heavy metal. As I say this, I'm not talking about, hey, it's female fronted. Let's please drop that entire label. It is not a genre. It is not the best way to describe a band. For a lot of people that don't realize it, if you describe your music as female fronted, you're going to get a lot of people who say they don't like female singers and are just going to ignore your music from the very beginning. So don't do that. Just throw it out under whatever genre you are: heavy metal, symphonic metal, power metal, thrash metal, whatever that genre is. Female fronted is not a metal genre. Let's leave that, let it die, drop it. Let's move on from that and just celebrate the fact of artistry, the artists that are out there. With that said, I'm looking at these heavy metal artists celebrating these females that have been making some kick-ass music that need to be celebrated because they've paved the ways for lots of women along the way. And on this album, she stayed so authentic to the heavy metal sound that was coming out of the 80s. She didn't try to reinvent the music. She celebrated what these artists have done. I love that, her vocals on this were very clean, very heavy metal, just the holding that truth and authenticity of the style of heavy metal vocals that you'll get when you listen to the 80s style metal or early, that late 70s, really early 80s up into the late 80s. There were so many women out there doing things, but just not having a voice for it, and being able to finally start coming to the forefront and, in these little undergrounds of finding heavy metal spaces to play. I saw a ton of people back then. Wendy O. Williams is somebody that I was already into way back. And you've got Maltese, there are so many tracks on this album that I had already heard and can relate to. So as I'm going through the playthrough of this album, I'm listening one by one going, okay, so she's got Lee Aaron's Metal Queen. So how's that going to sound compared to Lee Aaron? And trying not to also do, okay, so let's totally compare it to, because it is her own recording. So there are some differences, not massively, because I think it's very authentic to the original artist. She kept a really good balance with that. Along with the keeping the balance, she also included a few other artists in this album with her. She asked John Gallagher of Raven, bass player, to play on the My Angel track. Harry Conklin from Jagdpanzer, Light in the Dark did the vocals, and then Todd Michael Hall from Riot V, Call of the Wild, and then she's mixing her own vocals in there with it. And really cool tracks. I like that she brought these guys in to celebrate metal with her. There was so much fun in this album. For me, these are the people that I was looking up to as a teen, pulling me all the way up and through into today's metal. And I think they paved the way for a lot of artists. And it's just to see this progression that, we've come from to today and still celebrate what started it is something I love to see when artists do this. And I think if you're going to get an artist to do something like this, Marta Gabriel was a good person to do this because her vocals have that authentic feel to it. She understands the metal genre. She loves heavy metal, and she's going to make it authentic. It's not going to be slash something so bad that it doesn't sound like itself anymore. So I'm really appreciate that she kept that same feel to the album. You guys, I don't think you're going to go wrong with this one. If you love heavy metal, and I'm not talking the screaming, the growling, like you've got with the growls from, arch enemy like Alyssa or Angela before her, or where the operetics from Nightwish or Epica. I'm talking, authentic heavy metal, like the kind of heavy metal, that kind of stuff. You're going to get that in this album. And if you're out there and you're like me and you've been to shows like Raven's show when the last time they're here out here in Seattle, and you're out there banging your head like, yep, yep, this is great metal, and you're pumping your fist, this is an album that you're going to enjoy and you're going to love it. If you are a gal who's not really checked out the earlier days of heavy metal, but you like the metal scene and you like the growlers, or you just like heavy metal, maybe you like Maiden or whoever, definitely check this album out. It's going to open your eyes to other artists you may have never come across before, because she really dipped into the vault to pick some of these great artists, and go back and explore what these other artists have done over the years and where they've gone and what their careers pulled forward in their catalogs, because there's a lot of really great stuff and there's so much progression. And also, like with the Warlock track on here, if you don't know, like Doro Pesh, she's still out here kicking around making awesome music, and they've even got a live Blu-ray coming up of the Triumphant Agony that they recorded, and I think it's really cool. It's going to be a live DVD, live CD from it, and you guys, there's so much cool stuff going on from these artists that are making music. And Lee Aaron has got a new album out in July as well. It's like, so she's touching on these artists that are still relevant today and that have paved the way. So you've got to go check these people out, see what they've been doing. If you've loved these artists over the years, definitely check this album out and see what Marta's spin has been on these, and see her appreciation for this genre, because it's truly there. It's authentic. It feels good. It sounds good. I couldn't have picked a better artist to do a cover album. And again, I'm not a huge covers fan. I rarely find a cover album that I like. Bonfire has impressed me with their double CD they did a few years back. It was really good. Tons of artists that I've loved over the years. This is now going to be one of those cover albums that I really love and enjoy, because it's so authentic and it feels so good. And it's something you're just going to put in and you're going to really enjoy listening to it. It sounds great. You guys cannot go wrong with Metal Queens. This is out, Listenable Records, July 30th. Make sure you guys pick that up. And also, I just had a chat this morning with Marta. I've got a great interview coming up. I will link it below so you guys can find it easily. But you guys, there's so much going on with music right now, and I'm super excited that this release is coming out, and the other stuff that we're going to be bringing up pretty soon as well. I'm going to be going over Lee Aaron's new album that's coming. Come back for another album review. We've got a lot of stuff we're going to be talking about. Thanks, guys, for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.